Is there any questions on the first statement before we close off? I do see two others in the room. Today we are taking questions only on the press statement. As you would know, as we speak, the funeral for our dear comrade, Mr. Oscar Clark, is ongoing, and shortly we have some other proceedings regarding the state. All right, with there being no questions on the press statement, you have them. All right, Mr. Mark Benstock.
Yeah, good morning. I have a question. I joined late. My apologies. Concerning the treatment, and I know that the chairman may have spoken about that, but is it surprising that the PPP regime love to boast of how much they care about the people of Region 10 and the people of Linden and so forth? Are you surprised, Mr. Chairman, of this bold neglect of the people in times of need by the PPP regime?
I am not, because it has been happening for the past 4 years. In fact, I dare any of the officials in the government side, and I pose the question to them, to list one transformational capital project that this government has executed or initiated or conceptualized during its tenure for the people of Region 10, and you will have none. All of the projects that are being delivered or continued is what was started under the former government. The Linden to Mabura Road, they attempted to remove it. Of course, you know, the UK government told them that if they only do that, they will not be leaving the 55 million sterling pounds with them. For 23 years, a lot of people oftentimes forget that the People's Progressive Party didn't just come to government in 2020. They served for 23 years. There wasn't, they rejected any attempt for those transformational projects to come to Linden. They rejected to put in a robust agriculture program in Region 10. In fact, it was Ashley Singh who said that other regions had a comparative advantage. We would have started a $300 million road from Millyside out at Linden to the Berbice River, so farmers can begin to bring out their produce. I went there, I saw watermelon, I saw belange, peppers, you name it, edos, spoiling in the Berbice River. All that is needed is for that project to be continued that was started under the David Granger administration. They have refused to continue that project. They have refused to release close to $300 million that sits in an account at the Linden Enterprise Network that the APNU first injected 150 because many persons were repaying. Some, of course, defaulted, but it is the responsibility of the government to ensure that they put measures in place to control and monitor that. That funding has now grown from 150 to 300 million. They have refused to constitute the board. An agro-processing plant that they claim they built at the Watuka area, they placed 2 household blenders in the facility, so nobody can use it. If you check the People's Progressive Party manifesto in the 2020 election, you will see no mention of the bridge across the Demerara River at Linden, bridge in Wisma and Mackenzie. But if you check the coalition manifesto, you will see it listed there. That is a fact. We have seen where they have targeted the region strategically and intentionally, so no, it is not a surprise. If we thought that a disaster might have caught, we thought that they might have been a little more compassionate. Maybe Bishop Etchen is a pastor, but it seems as though he's sitting in the seat of the scornful. We thought that at least he knows me, he could have reached out. And yet he came to Linden and announced boldly. He said that they get money. Money is not the problem. They get money. The Disaster Preparedness Committee, I think, received, Ganesh Manipur said $7 billion. $1 billion in 2021 went, I think it was to Region 6 when they had the flood. Don't come and tell the people of Linden that you're going to just give them a bottle of bleach and a black bucket with a black bag with a soap powder inside and expect them to stay quiet. Also, if you recall, let them 600 families received $1 million each in 2021. What happened? Go by the people of Region 10. The people are equally and should equally benefited from the taxes that are paid by us all. We are the ones, we contribute to our taxes. And so nothing has been done. They have sought to politicize everything. This could have been prevented. You had the Tonga anniversary. The mayor reached out to them to clean up the Tonga system, cleaning up. They ignored him completely. But immediately after the Linden Tongue Week was completed, they found millions of dollars. It is alleged that 77 million was doled out, to the point that they got so confused they started to cut trees in areas that were prone to erosion. This is the first time I'm hearing that. I know people would plant trees. They cut down trees outside of the Mackenzie Sports Club, and now the fence of that facility is possibly compromised if it is not, if a revetment work is not executed soonest.
You know, I have a follow-up question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman there. And I noticed Mr. Mervyn as well, because there are other areas that are flooded, especially in the interior areas as well, that the PPP regime has also neglected, just as they have neglected the smoke situation in Mocha, Arcadia, and other areas. Mr. Mervyn, do you wish to comment on the PPP's neglect of flooding in other areas too, sir?
Well, that was principally a part of the statement. Sorry you came in late, but absolutely, Mark. The Jagdeo Ali regime is intent on making statements and performing acts to distract people from the reality of the suffering of our people in this country, all across this country, particularly the hinterland and indigenous communities across Guyana. I was making the point, Mark, that a minibus left Georgetown at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. Today is Friday. It's almost midday, and that bus is at Kurupukari Crossing. It has not left the Kurupukari Crossing. It has to traverse very, very badly damaged roads from there. It has to traverse across makeshift bridges. And when it gets to Pirara, people will have to walk across a steel plank to get across the Pirara River. A steel plank on an incomplete bridge, a bridge the construction of which started more than 2 years ago. And until now, there's no decking. The bypass bridge has been blown away by the strong tides. And so now people will have to walk the plank, so to speak, to get to the other side of the Pirara River with their children and with their cargo and so on, to get into another vehicle across the other side to get into let them. And this is only a sample of what's happening in Deep South Rupununi. There's a particular road that reportedly is under 10 feet of water in Napi, to connect people from Napi to Parashara and Hayo and Kaikumbi and so on. The Napi Village Council had to bring out a boat with an outboard motor to transport people where ordinarily they would have ridden bicycles or motorcycles or traversed with other vehicles. So it is really, really bad. And while that is so, Jagdeo is busy making statements about the APNU not ever having a plan for roads and bridges. But when you look at what the APNUFC did, the evidence is there. The town of Madja received massive infrastructure investment, concrete roads and bridges, concrete drains. The entire Port Kaituma, which was once a slush path, concrete roads. Mabaruma, concrete roads and drains. Bimichi in the Moruka area, a brand new paved airfield, a high-span concrete bridge across the Moruka River. There are countless examples of what the APNU-AFC accomplished while in government with very small budgets, with zero oil revenue. while the People's Progressive Party now has a $1.46 trillion budget, 60% of which is dedicated to infrastructure projects aimed at enriching contractors, friends, and families, and not designed to bring an ease and a more relaxed and comfortable life for the people of Guyana's hinterland. This is where the trouble is. There is no plan, there's no vision, there's no scope for the kind of development that Guyana deserves. Our money from oil is being squandered, wasted, while our people continue to suffer.
If I may,
Go ahead.
added to the flooding in my constituency on the East Bank, the government continues to neglect the drainage situation for many farm areas. On the highway, I know they have started dredging the creeks to assist the farmers who would have lost millions of dollars in crops. But the dredging was never completed because the machine was in the creek. I don't know if it's the removers yet, but the challenge they had, sometimes they run out of fuel, the driver don't turn up. And because of that, now we have the rainy season, you have those persons suffering. In my community, Mocha Arcadia, the outfalls that are supposed to be dredged and cleared so that the water can flow properly is now being cleaned. Little Diamond is now being cleaned. Then they have to move to the canal number 3 area by the Cocoa to clean. That has not started. And so here again, our farmers continues to lose millions of dollars. Work that should have been done during the dry season is now being taken on. Even currently, we have an issue where a contractor decides that he will throw mud in the number 3 canal, which is the main drainage canal for the area, in the name of building a bridge. And we seem not to be getting the information, but I hope I see that the NDIA would have asked that some of the material be removed, but I would hope that by this weekend, the entire number 3 canal where the mud was dropped to affect the flow of water in the Mocha Arcadia community, all that mud will be removed, and whatever bridge has to be built, that it will be done after the rainy season. It's very sad to see our farmers have to lose millions of dollars after investing their time and their effort to plant and to sow, and not be able to reap because of neglect by the PPPC government.
Mark, you mentioned smoke on the coast, but I want to remind us that there were forest fires in the Rupununi as well at the same time, and those virtually went unreported by the state media and by government in its conversation with the people of Guyana, which are very, very, very few. There was no response from the government to the forest fires. There was a meeting of the CDC in Letem, and that was all we heard. In the meantime, in the mountains, there were fires. In the savannas, there were fires. People lost crops, people lost livestock, people lost homes, some bridges were destroyed, and the government did not respond. The government was always aware that El Nino will last for up to 7 months. And the severity of the dry season will determine the severity of the rainfalls that will follow. Yet, no measure was taken in mitigating the forest fires, and no measures are being taken now to deal with the flooding situation. It is ridiculous the way we operate, and it is unforgivable that petty matters will engage the government and their spokespersons at this time when there is a massive crisis in Guyana's hinterland, when there's a massive crisis in Region 10, one of the main mining towns in this country, and as my sister Nima just mentioned, on the East Bank where people rely on farming for their livelihood. And I'll tell you this, when the PPP said that they were helping the people in the Rupununi by carrying in a couple 1,000 pounds of cassava, you wouldn't believe this. Cassava in Region 3 was being sold for $25 per pound. The PPP used the plight of the people in the Rupununi to enrich their supporters who were planting cassava in Region 3, doubled the price, and bought the cassava to take it in there. Why did they not buy twice the amount of cassava paying the same price so that the indigenous peoples of the Rupununi could have benefited in greater measure? And these are the kinds of questions that people need to ask. What is happening for the people at Mocha? Look at what happened for the benefit of the people in Region 3 who are planting and who are PPP supporters. The disparity is clear. The intention appears very obvious to me.
Do I have can I make a final, ask a final question, sorry, Madam Chair, or that's it?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And we are not allowed to go outside of the press conference, right?
No, not today.
Okay, because I wanted to ask Ms. Nima Flubes her take on the congressman's visit to Mocha, but I wouldn't ask since you said that I can't. But if she wants to answer, she can respond to that. But good job, Ms. Bess. My final question also has to do with the chairman and Region 10, specifically in Linden. We usually see some PPP operatives parading themselves as though they care about the mining tongue. But during this flood, obviously contributory negligence by the PPP regime, these individuals, like the acting tongue clerk or whomever else, they're missing in action. They're not there to help the people or to help to coordinate anything other than to bring misery. Thank you, sir.
Well, I agree with you, Mark. Their efforts, or they were placed there, I think, I know, to frustrate the municipality. One would have thought that, you're a Lindener, work in the best interest and put the people first. But the fact that the town clerk during this flood season, despite the mayor was out on the ground at Greenard Street, going to communities 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, rather than work in the interest of the people and share whatever information, I think at this point, if I'm not mistaken, there were hampers that the mayor and councillors made representation for from an organization that it is alleged that the town clerk has refused to release those hampers to senior citizens, which should have been done during the town week period. The funding, that is, for them to go and procure it or secure it. He has refused. I don't know if he has done it by now, but they continue to frustrate both the RDC and the municipality. And as I said, their actions are well known and documented by their principals, because they both report to ministers and by extension to the president. One has to ask if these persons claim to be genuine about the work that they're doing, why would anyone treat the people who are under their direct responsibility in such callous manner? I want to also say that you would often see a boasting by the Minister of Public Infrastructure of how many footpaths and roads were constructed in Region 10. I would wish if he would now take a walk to see that the structural integrity of each and every single one of those footpaths has been compromised. All right? And so, like we have been pushing for sensible policies, it's a hilly, sand, and clay region. Put in the drainage system first, and then we can, of course, focus on the roads. As a director of NDIA in 2021, I wrote to Minister Zulfikar Mustafa listing, I think it was 17 critical outfalls that work should have been executed on it at least every 6 months. It was completely ignored, and this has resulted in what the people of Linden are experiencing today.
I will permit you.
Mr. Chairman, can you say how much money you're given?
Mr. Chabral.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't hearing you.
Ms. MP Nina Flo, you can go ahead to respond to the issue at Mupapa, and then I'll take Mr. Chabral as we.
Okay, my apologies. Sorry.
Okay. I must say that the visit of the Congressman Jackson to the Mocha Arcadia community was well received by the residents of Mocha Arcadia community. I'm extremely proud that we were able to stand together to highlight truth and facts about the issues that continues to affect our people I can assure you all that we will continue to stand as people of Mocha Arcadia community to defend our lands, to defend the interests of our village, and every opportunity that we have to speak out, we will speak out, because that's the only way persons will hear or see what is happening. I can let you know that the few who are running behind the PPP after the Congress will have taken the opportunity to make threats and send remarks to individuals. That will be dealt with publicly. And we will continue to stand together as a community, because we intend to preserve what we have, our wonderful community, Mocha Arcadia.
Mr. Cheval, I will take your one question. We're really running tight on time as we have someone who you're expecting. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chairman of Region 10, can you say how much money has been allocated this year, one, for drainage works, including the clearing of outfalls, and two, sanitation for the region? That's Region 10.
So for this year, under our capital program, for drainage, as I said, we received 3 drains, 39 million. It's the total on the drainage and irrigation, public works. Yeah, 39 million.
Sanitation?
Well, the municipality would normally deal with those matters that fall, I think that will fall under the local arm. So I think the mayor may be better placed to answer that.
No, I wasn't talking about Linden Low, I'm saying Region 10.
Well, Dennis, I am not certain. I don't have that information in front of me right now, but I can have it laid over for you.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you so much. At this time, I would like to bring today's press conference to an end. Of course, thank you to the media houses who have joined today's press conference, and we do hope that you all have a wonderful afternoon.
Recording stopped.
Yeah, my name is Jasnity Kaldata Francis Wakenham, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by 1 vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
Judge, I'll be back.
Huh? Why?